Hey. That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
He did what?
Jackpot, baby!
Ice up, son. Ice up. That is blasphemous. You can put it on the board. Yes.
And the NFL has a lot going on. That is for sure. The quarterback controversies and playoffs and division races and trades and injuries, and there's just so much going on. But let's start with quarterbacks. Let's start with the quarterback controversies, and that has been a huge topic of discussion all season long for so many teams across the league. Except now it's a little bit different. Except now it's not Trey Lance or Jimmy G, Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. Those are solved, and we are getting introduced to some new ones. And some new quarterback controversies are being introduced and you know, taking over the discussion in terms of quarterback controversy and NFL talk. Starting with New England. After the first half last night's game, and even I was kind of surprised to see Mac Jones start last night's game. And that's not a hot take. That's not something crazy to hear, but that's just something that I want to put out there right now. Because after the first half, I was certainly ready to hop on the Bailey Zappi train and say he should start for the rest of the season. Because I was saying, hey, Mac Jones has not done very well this season. He is on track to be 2-7 in his last 9 starts, which he was after the last night's loss. Zappi had almost beaten the Packers on the road a couple weeks ago. He played a really good game in other games, such as the Lions game. I mean, he has played well. And in my book, he's played better than Mac Jones. He comes in the game last night in 2 drives that only took 5 minutes. He goes and scores 2, leads the Patriots to score 2 touchdowns. So however, I'm not so sure that I'm ready to board the Bailey Zappi train. And instead, I might be aborting the Bailey Zappi mission and train. Because after the way he ended his night last night, I'm not so sure that wasn't Mac Jones in a Bailey Zappi jersey, because Zappi did not look good in the second half of that game last night. For what reason, I don't know. Was there miscommunication? Was it bad play call? Was it him just getting a little too comfortable and confident? I'm not sure. All I know is that he did not look good in the second half of that game last night. And at this point, I think for New England in general, you know what you're going to get out of Mac Jones. He's not a game changer. He is definitely having a dip and a significant drop off from last year, right? And I think for some people that was somewhat expected. And even last year I thought he was a little overhyped, and I didn't think he was... I mean, I think he had a decent year, don't get me wrong, but I did not think that he was necessarily good enough to be considered, oh, he's going to be, you know, the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots for the next 15 years or whatever, right? There was just something there that he didn't have, and there was something that he was lacking for me to get ready and get hyped for Mac Jones. Last year was a decent year, don't get me wrong. And I think at this point, again, you know what you're going to get out of him. And I think it's time to give Zappi the ball for the rest of the year. Right, because you look at this division right now, and already entering the season, it was going to be tough with the Bills being the absolute monster in that division and the Dolphins building a monster. And now, those 2 teams, on top of the Jets being a surprising team, it's near impossible for a 3-4 Patriots team to climb the division standings and make it to the playoffs. It is nearly impossible. So I think right now, and again, this is kind of a giving up attitude, and this is kind of the, oh, is it tanking? Well, no, maybe not. I don't think it's tanking. I think you're just seeing what you have in your quarterback. Because if you want to rebuild your team, right, you I don't think it's a good idea to have this mystery on whether or not you have a potentially good starting quarterback on your roster, right? And I don't think they're tanking. I don't think they're going to be giving up on the season. But I think at this point they really should start Bailey Zappi for the rest of the season to see whether or not you should need to draft a quarterback this offseason, because that is important, because many teams are going to be in the market to draft a quarterback in this season's draft. The Carolina Panthers are potentially going to draft one. The Seattle Seahawks could be drafting one. The 49ers could be drafting one, depending on where Jimmy Garoppolo goes. The Steelers could be drafting one if they're not confident on Pickett. Throw the Patriots in there. The Colts could be drafting one, and we'll get to that quarterback controversy in a little bit. The Texans might be. The Jaguars will... I don't know. Not the Jaguars. Oh my. I don't know what just happened, but something fell a couple doors over. Anyway, there are plenty of teams that could be looking to draft a quarterback in this upcoming draft. The Cardinals no, they'll be signing... they signed Murray to that huge draft. The Buccaneers might be drafting a quarterback. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. You get the point. So I think at this point, the Patriots better figure out, hey, are we going to be in a position where we need to draft a guy? Because if this year, it's going to be tough. So we better figure it out now. That would be the attitude that I see if they do start Zappi for the rest of the season. Because, as I just mentioned, half the league, you could argue that half the league could be in the market to draft a quarterback. And I'm not over-exaggerating. The Saints, right? Yeah, the Saints for sure could be looking to draft a quarterback. But like I said, over half the league, you could honestly argue, you can make an argument for, hey, they should draft a quarterback. So if you want to get in on that, you better figure it out right now. Because by the time, if you wait till like the draft rolls around, you're yeah, we need to draft a quarterback. All the other teams already have their mind made up. Hey, yeah, we're drafting this guy. We're going with this guy. We want, they're going to be trading up for that guy, and they are already making their decisions. Indianapolis. Mentioned that a little bit before. Matt Ryan gets benched for Nick Foles? No. For Sam Ehlinger. The Texas guy. The guy that said, hey, Texas, we're back. And then the Texas Longhorns did not have a very good season after that. And everybody was clowning them for, oh, hey, Texas is back. And they're not doing very well. Yes, that guy. That guy. That you would be correct. They benched Matt Ryan for that guy. And where do I start? Where can I start? I mean, this is a buffet. Matt Ryan, let's start there. Matt Ryan, okay. He did not have a great start, right? He had a pretty rough start, for lack of a better term, pretty rough. He had a pretty rough start to the season, but I will say he honestly had been, ever so slightly, improving week to week. And I look at Matt Ryan this year, and as much as I obliterated his start to the season a few weeks ago, I can't help but be reminded of Jameis Winston's season quite a few years ago with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where his offensive numbers were, his yardage and completions and touchdowns were decent. Numbers in those terms were good, right? And Matt Ryan is top 10 in the league, and I think maybe even top 5 in the league in passing yards, and his touchdown numbers have been up there. However, you cannot look at Matt Ryan's stats without looking at the terrible turnovers. I mean, he is not doing very well in terms of turning the ball over. And as I mentioned, yeah, he's doing pretty decent in terms of yardage and touchdowns. However, on the other end, his turnover numbers are tied or are the worst in the league. His fumbles, interceptions, and sacks, I believe, were either all worse or tied for worst in the league. Not something I think I would take lightly. So maybe benching him makes sense. For Sam Ehlinger? For Sam Ehlinger. Ehlinger, whatever his name is pronounced. For that guy? You're going to bench him for that guy? Really? I'm not so sure about that. And I think, in a way, you could be asking yourself, are the Colts giving up on this season? Or are they just playing it the way I just said the Patriots should be playing this scenario? Is that what they're doing? Because honestly, at 3-3-1, the Colts are, unlike the Patriots, the Colts are still in the race for the division. The Titans are in first place at 4-2. The Colts are right there at 3-3-1. The Colts are by far not completely out of first place of the division, which is a weird thing to say, but it's true. And it's kind of odd because you might be thinking, are they giving up on the season in a way? Are they cutting their losses and looking to see what they have in Ehlinger so they can decide if they need to draft in the upcoming draft quarterback like I was saying about New England? I mean, I think you don't even have to play Sam Ehlinger to say, yeah, we need to draft a guy. I think that's pretty, I don't think you need to play him to say, yeah, he's not it. And, a lot of people were poking fun at the Colts saying, hey, stop signing these quarterbacks that are on the verge of retirement. Ever since Andrew Luck was there, they had Phillip Rivers, who retired after his time in Indianapolis. Jacoby Brissett, who has been a career backup. He moved on after his time there to be a backup somewhere else. Carson Wentz, who moved on. He did not retire, but moved on after 1 year there. And now you have Matt Ryan, who probably should retire after his time is up in Indianapolis. And so people are saying, hey, stop signing these quarterbacks that are on the verge of retirement. Stop signing these washed quarterbacks. They said, okay, fine. We won't play any more washed on the verge of retirement quarterbacks. We'll play a young guy, Sam Ehlinger. And everybody was like, no, that's not what I meant. That's not what we meant. That is not what we had in mind. We meant draft a guy like the Jaguars did with Trevor Lawrence and the Chargers did with Herbert and the Dolphins did with Tagovailoa. Excuse me. The guy's been in the league for 3 years and he's been in college for 4 more, and the name's been floating around for 7 years and I still can't get it right. Sam Ehlinger's not, I don't think what anybody had in mind when they said, hey, start a young quarterback, play a young quarterback. At least that's not what I had in mind, but the Colts, well, whatever. Okay, you do you, I guess. I don't know, but we'll see what Sam Ehlinger does in Indianapolis, and yeah, not too confident there on whether or not he's going to explode and have a great season after, being named the starter for the rest of the season after Matt Ryan gets benched. The quarterback controversy, there really is none in Dallas. As I said before, Cooper Rush did fine. He didn't play any worse than Dak, but he didn't play all that better. And he didn't have some Hall of Fame caliber 4-game stretch where you say, okay, yeah, he really should be taking Dak Prescott's job. He was serviceable. He got the job done. Dak Prescott is back. It's his job. He is the starter in Dallas, no doubt about it. Dallas could, however, they could trade Cooper Rush to a team in need of a quarterback and get some offensive weapons or defensive help. Like Indianapolis. You want to invest in a young guy, you're 3-3-1. You arguably, people have said that the Colts are arguably a quarterback away from being a decent team. Put Cooper Rush on that team. His turnovers are way lower than Matt Ryan. His passing numbers maybe aren't as great at his yardage and touchdowns maybe are not as great as Matt Ryan. But I would argue that, I would like lower turnovers than I would more yards and touchdowns. I would like less turnovers more, if that makes sense. Sign him, trade him to Indianapolis. Maybe you can get trade him and either Zeke or Tony Pollard. Maybe you can get Jonathan Taylor. Maybe you can get Maybe you can get Michael Pittman, right? Maybe you can get something for him there. I don't know if that's all that likely to happen. I seriously doubt it, but I'm just saying that Cooper Rush probably made a name for himself and probably proved himself to other teams that, hey, he deserves a starting job or arguably could deserve a starting job. And the Colts are in a team obviously in need of a quarterback if they're willing to go with Sam Ehlinger. So that's just something that I think could be a possible scenario there. End of the day, Dak Prescott is the starting quarterback in Dallas. Washington, I'm a little suspicious of this Carson Wentz finger injury. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little suspicious about it. I'm going to be interesting. I wish I could have heard what Liam Crane said on the Rebuild, on his show, The Rebuild, last Friday, and maybe what he's going to say about it this Friday. But Liam, if you're listening out there, what do you think of the Carson Wentz finger injury where he had been playing nonstop? He didn't even really, I don't think he came out of the game against the Bears last week on Thursday night, and all of a sudden he has a finger injury and he needs surgery and he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. He had a bad start to the season. Let's not get that. Let's get that right. Let's get that out of the way. He was worse than Matt Ryan's start. His start was awful. A loss to Chicago on Thursday night did not make things look any worse. And then, in my book, sort of out of nowhere, it was, oh, he's out 4 to 6 weeks. Taylor Heinicke, you're up. And I also can't help but think about the Ron Rivera back and forth between him and the media surrounding quarterback play. Oh, these teams, New York, Philadelphia, Minnesota, they're off to great starts this season. What's different there than your team? And he said quarterback. And there was, some more argument with Carson Wentz and kind of some drama there. And I can't help but bring that to light when it comes to this as well. And Heinicke comes in his first start of the season and leads the Commanders to a win over the Packers. And now everybody is wondering why in the world the Commanders went out and acquired Carson Wentz in the first place. And lots of fans were wanting Taylor Heinicke to start from the get-go. So they wanted them to start week 1. And at least as of now, after 1 week, those people seem to have maybe been onto something. And I think Carson Wentz might be done in terms of being an NFL quarterback. He might be done. And I think that Taylor Heinicke might just be the I don't know that I don't know that he's really the future of Washington in terms of the next 10 years or so, but I think he should be the starting quarterback for the foreseeable future for the next few years or so. He should be. I think he's earned that much.